Hello all, welcome back to another Bitcoin technical analysis video. I'm going to quickly get started by saying um, I'm very glad to be back at the charts. I'm going to give you guys sort of a TA on Bitcoin, my thoughts, everything like that, how we can look to be trading through the weekend, and then um, we're gonna sort of say where I think everything is going to be going in general. And then in the coming days, I'm going to be doing a video on the altcoins and giving you guys some TA on those. And then we'll get back in the routine sort of starting later next week once I have returned home. So let's get straight into it. Right, Bitcoin macro, right? We're at the bottom of a channel. We're at the bottom of a very, very big channel. We're sort of having a little deviation, right? Right, let's just, obviously this isn't perfect, but like, let's call this our sort of channel, right? We've had a deviation, we're at the bottom. Ideally, if you traded a range properly, now would be a must long into a rotation back up to the highs, possible deviation back up, and then proceeding back down lower. But that's sort of where we are macro. We're at the bottom of a channel. I think that we could definitely see a deviation to the downside towards our 23K area. We've got some good support down there. And I don't think that's out of the picture. The past week or so, we've been in a beautiful range. Like, I mean, couldn't be any better. We've been trading it brilliantly. Yeah, I mean, I gave the range. I said in a live a little bit ago that after this drop that I believe we were going to range. And if you quite literally just after two touches short of the high, long the low, you'd be in 4 winning trades. Now, as we are proceeding to sort of have a little bit more of a deviation, but as you can see with this value area low, we are sort of breaking and retesting. So could this just be now confirmation, of downside down to 23K? Very possible. That's again, there's really not a ton of technical analysis to be done. We had a bunch of liquidity down at these lows, a bunch of buying power. This proceeded to stop and run out, swing failure pattern, back into this local range, sort of a micro range as we might call it, rejecting off this point of control here. Let's see if we can include this. And at this point in time, yep, rejecting off that point of control. And then proceeding to go lower into this move where we rejected off the POC and I believe a CC perfectly. Indeed, we did, right? So that doesn't get very, very simple. And as you can see, if we look back into this high, after the drop, okay, so drop back into this high, rejecting off the point of control. And we zoom in here. We have a bunch of people sort of longing into this high while we created a pretty, never mind. Yeah, so longing into this high, if we zoom in a little bit. Yeah, as we can see, so a bunch of liquidations, holy, right? If we look down here, I mean, just a ton of liquidations. And then some more people shorting into these lows, just sort of emphasizing that rally back up into believe it was this high here. Yeah, this high. Take a quick look in here. Yep, look at that. So we have a bunch of longs opening into the high, into the POC, and that CC just bound for a short, which is exactly what we needed. Then slightly deviating down to the lows again, creating some more liquidation. So that's again beautifully how we've been trading Bitcoin recently. Perfectly range bound, some local CCs being hit, and that's sort of where we are in terms of the macro range that I think is important for us to be watching. There was a rejection off one of these NPOCs up here, I believe. If not, actually, I don't really remember. I know there's a weekly one here, and this daily one did get missed. That was created back in here. So a couple scalping levels for you, and we're at a global CC. So obviously this is for the CC is from Corona low to all-time high. Yeah, Corona low to all-time high. And this is frankly where we are. We had that swing failure pattern, and now all the way since here, making bearish market structure. If we proceed to break and retest, that's when we could be falling to 23K, where we do have some daily levels, which are some pretty macro supports. I think people would be shorting into that, and after 19K, we're falling lower into 15K. That's everything we need to be expecting to the downside. So a quick little weekend trading plan, right? Currently making this on a Friday afternoon, so the weekend is soon to come, meaning BTC 1, I believe, closed. What time is it? It's 19. It's 11, which would be 23. So this, so yeah, if we look at Bitcoin, right, clearly a very downsloping channel. By the way, I traded both of these CME gaps absolutely incredibly. Opening, back, shorting, opening, back, shorting. Opening, if we could come back up, come back up to these highs, possibly. Yeah, so bearish market structure, right? There's high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. A false reclaim opening at the POC, possibly on like Igor session 4. Right, Igor session 3. So if we were to on Monday at market open back up at the point of control, creating a CME gap that would look like this. This would be a great short for me. Or yeah, ideally I'd like a bigger. $27.50. If we possibly open that's nice. So this more micro range we opened in, right? 750. So closing at the point of control. That's 1%. That's fucking horrid. All right, that's not at all what we want.
I'm not sure I understand.
I don't have CME gap plays, but we're gonna have to see. I'm gonna do another stream on Sunday, hopefully, and we're gonna see where we open on Monday, and if we have a possible gap to be filled, then we will be playing that. A CME gap is, let's say we close market here, right, and then Monday, Bitcoin's still gonna move, and we open here. We now have zero liquidity in this area, trading like an imbalance or a single print. We might tick a little higher and then reject, and we will fill it straight through. And again, that's a very free trade that you get like once a week. If we come back, here, I mean, these have been traded fucking immaculately. Why was this one so beautiful? Sort of last week's. Well, right, we're in a downsloping channel, so we're going to be looking for shorts. And I think I pulled it here. Right, we're at the value area high. We closed here on Friday, opened here on Monday, and I entered a short somewhere around here. Stops above these highs, which luckily we didn't have a swing failure pattern. And I mean, you just close right through this gap right here. We closed this gap very quick and easily. And yeah, this CME gap was real nice. It was nice and big, traded from the bottom of the range right up to the top. Found support at that point of control. If we take a look at the S&P, okay, so we are beginning to find support again after we had that big rally down to this sort of area of liquidity here. This is still bearish market structure. So I'm not sort of looking along necessarily right here. I'm thinking this could just be a macro reset, but I believe I believe this was a 382 support. Yep, exactly, to the 382. So, if we begin to break market structure, I'm not going to, again, be bullish on S&P until sort of this high gets taken out. If we look at the DXY or the dollar, okay, we had a deviation to the range. Right, this is sort of our range right here. And we front run the low. We had a quick deviation to the high. I would love to see us have a rotation back down. They're inverse, so if the dollar goes back down, Bitcoin ideally, especially because we're at the low of the range, right, we're gonna want to see that work back up higher. Completely range bound on Bitcoin. Macro wise, an accumulation would not be bad here, especially because the real stop loss potential is only at like 23K. If we did deviate from this range right here, right, or wherever the high is, and we did have a deviation of 23K, it would be grabbing a bunch of liquidity. Let's see, yeah, so, we could swing failure pattern in this low. And then we'd have to obviously reclaim and then begin to contribute back into this range here. That's all I have to say for Bitcoin. I hope everyone has a better understanding of the market now. I believe Bitcoin is still range bound. If we begin to crash lower, that it is what it is. But on that micro, my next real trading plan is for that CME gap. And hopefully we remain in the current range we've been in the past week. It has been very easy to trade this range, like unbelievably easy if we're gonna be 100% here. We also formed this range, I believe it was. Yeah, so we traded this guy here, for a day or so. And this was sort of a given, right? You know, this one was not hard to be trading. I hope everyone again is sort of more, I guess, aware now. Yeah, I hope everyone's more aware. I hope everyone has a better feel of the market. If you have any questions, make sure to drop them sort of in one of the TA chats, and I'm gonna have an altcoin one coming soon. That is gonna be very simple. One thing I'm gonna say before the altcoin video comes along is if we remain range bound in Bitcoin for longer, right? Because let's look at macro again, right? The macro is important. Is equally as important as the micro TA is. The macro is important on the micro for micro trading, right? This is not a long range, right? This range was July, May. This was a 2-month range. I would not be surprised if we continued in a range for through mid-July, right? Hopefully it stays confined, deviation, faking people out. That's fine. We can read those. But hopefully we remain range bound. Range bound markets are easy to trade in, very straightforward. Use high leverage, and we're gonna, do it wonders. So if this remains range bound and we become coming to support levels on altcoins, that's a time to be buying, especially if the US dollar begins to go down and we find support on the S&P 500. I have no reason to believe that Bitcoin will be falling lower. I have no reason to believe that we won't be making the starts to a rotation back up to the highs, because we are in a range at the end of the day. Yes, I hope everyone has a good time. Ask me questions. I'm back. I'm ready to go. June 1, I'm back home at my desktop. Everything's going to be going. We're going to get the live trading started, daily videos, and I can't wait for more. Bye, guys. Have a good one.